Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about One-Punch-Man Season 3, Episode 5. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we're picking up where the last episode left with Garu's kind of rescue attempt on Tereo, even though he says, like, I'm not here to rescue you. I'm here basically just to get my get back against the monsters. I want to make them pay because I lost to them. So, because this whole thing was like, yeah, I want to fight monstrous humans. I never thought I'd end up actually fighting monsters. He thought he was more so on their side, but obviously a conflict, not necessarily interests, but philosophies of just kind of like, I still state he thought there would be a lot more freedom with being the monster, but like kind of being a part of some association. It's like, you're no different than the heroes in that regard. But either way, he's telling Tereo, like, cool, come along with me, kind of very Terminator-esque, come with me if you want to live type of thing. But it's like, I'm not here to save you. He's even like, hey, there's that other kid. It's like, I'm not here to save that kid. I mean, and you know, Tereo, I mean, it's a complicated thing because it shows you Tereo being like, hey, there's another person here. But it's like, no, you either come along with me or you die. Like, hey, I'm not even here to rescue you. It's just happenstance. I'm getting my get back and I just happen to save you. It's like, you know, Garo can't even admit, like, you were worried about the kid. Like, don't get it twisted. But also, the other kid technically doesn't have to worry considering the Hero Association is literally amassing all its powerful heroes for the purposes of rescuing him, so it's not as big of a concern, but still is a concern. So, I also thought it was interesting, too, that Garo kind of took remnant bandages from King Ripper and, like, ended up putting them on himself, so. But, cutting through some monsters along the way, and ultimately they end up coming across a monster which he kind of backs down from. What's it? It's either Poochie or Pochi, however you want to pronounce it. But I'm like, interesting. The one who's always gun-ho about fights, recognizing, hey, this thing's kind of out of my league, so I need to just kind of, hey, kid, we'll step back slowly. Don't make any sudden movements. We don't want to make this thing see us as a threat. We'll just kind of keep it pushing. So, and it seems like they got far enough away, and then the monsters that were looking for Garu last episode show up. He kind of rips into two of them, but one of them has a crazy healing factor, so immediately recovers, while the other one remains a little jacked up. It's the one that kind of has like a reflective face or whatever, you know, punching it straight in his face and shattering it. And all of that effort to avoid Pochi ends up kind of going down a drain when he ends up kicking one of the monsters down the very hallway they were at. So it's like, didn't think that through. So now that thing ends up eating it, spitting out part of its head, and then proceeds to attack them, sending out like a powerful laser blast that obliterates the other monsters as they're running for their lives. I think that's what caused them to like kind of like, yeah, the entire like hallway of the facility is like breaking down, and we see like there's a whole bunch of monster collateral. I mean, they made it perfectly clear that especially like some of the higher ranked monsters kind of are like don't care. I think they're just driven by like their destructive need, because it turns out this thing, Pochi or whatever, is actually a dragon, which is interesting, dragon level threat, considering Garo tried to say like, oh, you guys are demon level, I'm kind of a dragon level, but they were like, hey, don't get that twisted, because that's for the upper echelon higher ups in this monster association or that level. And yeah, it kind of showcases the difference in strength between like this thing and Garu. So he sends Tereo on his own, which we'll see how much luck he has on his own. You know, place is still riddled with monsters. Granted, they won't be looking for an escaped human because he's relevant. You know, he's not even, and the only reason why he's here is because of King Ripper. So like, I mean, any monsters that come across him might kill him. Hell, he might even be able to rescue home dude who's also kidnapped. So he might step up in this moment. Who knows? He's going to probably be running like scared and running rampant in regards of like not knowing where he's going. I mean, the place isn't mapped out in his head, so he's probably just going to be running in random directions, not sure where he's going to end up. But we'll see. But Garo tries his best to fight this thing, like aims for its feet and trying to do something that does nothing. He immediately gets hit with the blast and is like, oh, am I gonna die here? But then he kind of has like his second win. I guess you could call it at this point his third win, because I guess that seems to be his shtick. Every time it seems like he gets beat down, he pops back up. I was definitely getting like Saiyan vibes from him, from DB Dragon Ball Z, where it's like every time they lose or get beat down, they come back that much stronger. And I guess you can make an argument that's how Saiyans, they adapt. Once they're beaten or near death, they come back stronger than ever. And that seems to be Garo's thing. And adaptability has always been his forte, and that's kind of where his genius lies, where it's like once he's kind of seen someone's attack once, he kind of is able to kind of always evade it or kind of counteract it. So that's always been a part of his shtick. So, but he's going toe-to-toe against this thing, and it's kind of, he's dodging its like laser blast, and he pounces from the top to strike it down, but that does nothing. I believe it was this that like grabbed him and like by the leg, it bit his leg, and then like slammed him against the ground and then lasered him. And that's the last time we see it, because I guess it didn't fall down, because he does, and lo and behold, who does he fall in front of? Goto, who's like, oh my god, here you are, you're so amazing. I thought you were something special. Turns out you are. But he talks about the fact is that Garu hasn't gone through full monster transformation. Because I wondered about that last episode. I was like, is that what that ending of episode, was it 3, was supposed to represent? Him becoming a monster, and he kind of fully embraced it. Well, the beginning stages of that, and he fully becomes one. Even though he didn't have a monstrous transformation, it's there, but it's still because he's half monster. He hasn't quite crossed that boundary. But Goto talks about the monsterization process involves getting someone super close to death. Basically, you have to put them through so much pain. It has to be at a level that they can handle, because if you go beyond, you end up killing them. And because of that, there's so many humans and monsters that have been sacrificed for. He's very Victor Frankenstein with all his experiments on monsters, trying to create a stronger monster, because the monster cells that were kind of introduced last season that can just monsterize anyone who devours them, they have a limit. Basically, they can transform you into a monster, but even then, like, there's a limit to how far you can go, even in your monster form. It kind of amplifies your potential, but that potential will always be your limit. And so he wants to push people beyond their limit, and his only real success so far has been Orochi, as we know, started off as a human and turned into what he considers like the king of monsters now. So he wants to do the same thing to Gato, but Gato's not the submitting to anyone type, which makes a lot of sense considering, like, his relationship with his master, him kind of going off on his own, doing his own thing, and now the Monster Association wants him to be a part of things, but he's fighting back. He's very much an authority, like he's anti-authority, where it's just like, I don't want anyone telling me what to do. I'm going to live my life the way I want to. I'm trying to remember if this is the first time we've ever seen Goto's powers, like that he's a telekinetic. He says he's stronger than Tamatsuki and Fubuki. I wonder how true that is. I mean, because we've seen how powerful Tamatsuki is, but we've never seen her really, really go all out. But even then, we've never seen him go all out either, because he wants to save some of his energy for the fight, which is so interesting. Even though, like, you think Orochi's like the head honcho of all this, but it seems like Gato is. So I'm like, is he as powerful, if not more powerful, than Gato? Than Orochi? Because, like, just because you made him doesn't make you that much stronger. But once again, we haven't seen the full extent of his powers. But even with his powers, Gato was still able to break from his telekinesis, especially because he can only focus on one target at a time. To be fair, who knows how true that is if he goes all out. But that's all kind of a moot point, because we won't know until, like, it really comes down to it, because he brings Orochi into the fight, which we know Orochi kind of instincts quickly took down Metal Knight in one hit. But you got to give it up to Gato for lasting as long as he did. Like, the fact is he kind of got crushed in the palm of Orochi's hand, still snapped out of it, got up, still tanking everything, got stabbed by the horns, which are like, come out like tendrils, and that turned into a whole thing, kind of speeding around the arena, dodging all the spikes, horns. And I love just in that one fell swoop, like slicing those two monsters in half at once. dodging all those horns. But it's like, yeah, you gotta give him credit for just his adaptability. It's not even like an overnight thing. Like, it happens instantaneous, because in this moment he's getting stronger, he's getting faster, but the scaling is still, he hasn't quite gotten there to match Orochi, especially because Orochi isn't just like, it's not just his horns. It's so much of his body can shapeshift. He has like a giant gaping mouth he opens up. Other parts of his body like turn into like dragon-headed tendrils. So it's like attack on multiple fronts, and it's not enough. Garu can't do enough, especially when he's like blazing the battlefield. But it does seem that Garu, I don't know if that's some connection to like his monsterization, or maybe it has something to do more so with his training. But it's like, because his whole moveset kind of like, especially like the blue is like water, so him kind of being fire resistant, I don't know if that's just a natural byproduct of maybe his training under Bong, or whether it's just like that's part of his monsterization has made him. Because I don't know, that could also be like maybe a byproduct of like surviving Pochi's attacks previously, has kind of built up his, like, I don't know if full elemental like resistance would be the case, but because that looks more like lightning, so I'm like, where else would the fire like resistance have come from? But we also learned that there are even deeper parallels between Garu and Orochi, because it turns out Orochi, whereas Garu, when he sees something, he can learn how to counter it, versus Orochi, when he's able to see something once, very Sharingan-esque, he's able to copy it. So not only does he copy the stance that Garu has, he also copies the line of, "I'll show you fear." He's like, that's the difference between him and Orochi. He's like, like a true monster will like, all Orochi has is his overwhelming strength. He doesn't have the true fear of a monster, be able to kind of, fill you with fear. But, now they're at a standstill, and it seems like Garu comes out the loser. It seems like he's down for the count this time, enough to the point that Goro wants to brainwash him now. So we'll see if he gets another, at this point, 7th or 8th win and gets up, or whether he's just finally at the point of like he is knocked down because the power level is so vast. But at the same time this is going down, we're cutting back to the city, and it's like, oh my god, there's a earthquake, and then you have Saitama being like, I should probably investigate that when I like go on patrol later. And he goes right back to his manga, and then like more earthquake stuff happens. It's not doing anything. Then eventually it's like, well, time to go on my patrol. And then he's going through the city. He's like, I wonder what those earthquakes are about. And he's like, he's like following them. He's like, he's like, if this was, he's like, it's like something straight out of the manga. But he's like, in reality, there's no like super boss at the end of all this, which is so interesting considering technically you fought two super bosses throughout the series, at least in the anime so far. It's like Hone Dude at the end of season 1 and the giant centipede thing at the end of season 2. I mean, what is a super boss to Saitama? It's all the same. And even those monsters like were there, and he immediately wiped out one, and the other two were just cowering in fear as he walks on, because he's like, because like, life's no fun. So for him, it's like, there's no, like, even though Orochi would count as a super boss, he's just a boss monster. If anything, probably not even a boss monster. He's just like any other monster to you. So it ends with the earthquake stopping because the fight between Goro and Orochi stopped, and so there's no more explosions and eruptions on the ground. And Saitama's like, oh look, lifts a manhole cover. Is like, I wonder, could this be where things were coming from? It's like your slow approach to this. So next episode, we'll be having the heroes move out, so they will most likely get there way before Saitama does, maybe. But probably like always, they'll be off doing their own thing, and Saitama will slip in, and he'll handle things on his end, and will not get any credit for it, and he'll go unrecognized. Who cares? As I'm saying that from the perspective of Saitama. So I could assume that's how that's going to go, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what, but like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like the heroes finally do move out next episode, maybe. So we'll see how that infiltration process works. Especially because last episode we know Fubuki was left out because Tamasaki was like Tamatsuki was like, do not include my sister. Child Emperor was saying like, yo, we need to leave out Bong and Genos. So they're probably going to find out well after the fact stuff is popping off. So maybe they won't get involved, even though, well, Bong's gone. Where him and Bong and Bomb, like wherever they went, but we know Genos went off to get repaired again, so he'll probably come back, find that his master's not there, and probably track Saitama to the Monster Association headquarters, especially if the heroes roll into the area, and that's probably going to be an awkward thing of, oh, where are you guys going? It's like, oh, you didn't want him involved, but he happens to be in the same city, kind of staying here, so I'm interested to see how that all plays out next episode, and whether or not Goro gets what he wants and transforms Garu into a full monster, or whether Goro gets back up to trying to fight Orochi. We'll have to see it how it all shakes out. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.